Mold removal is becoming a shortlist market inside AI Answers. When a homeowner discovers mold or a property manager needs remediation, the first step may be asking ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, Copilot, Google AI Mode, or Google AI Overviews who to trust. The benchmark shows a clear pattern. AI systems are naming many brands but recommending far fewer. Hey, I'm Mark Huntley, founder and CEO of SiteWorks Studio. At SiteWorks Studio, we study how brands show up across Google, AI Answers, and the public sources buyers trust before making decisions, and how that visibility turns into credible citations, comparisons, and recommendations. The report studied mold removal services across mold remediation, mold inspection, and water damage restoration providers. It analyzed 1,168 observations across 3 high-intent public clusters: Best Restoration Services Discovery, Restoration Company Comparisons, and Restoration Services Pricing and Cost Evaluation. The shift is straightforward. Buyers are asking AI systems to compare providers, explain reputation, summarize pricing, and recommend a shortlist. In a trust-heavy category, that creates a new layer of competition. The brands that win are the ones AI systems can confidently frame as reliable, credible, and relevant for the buyer's situation. The strongest finding is concentration. Stanley Steemer captures 12% of the total modeled AI opportunity value in the mold removal category, more than 4 times the next closest competitor. It appears in 37.5% of all observations and earns a 4.46% valid recommendation coverage rate, nearly 3 times the next competitor. The rank position is even more telling. When Stanley Steemer receives a valid recommendation, it appears at rank 1 87% of the time, with an average recommended rank of 1.13. In practical terms, when AI systems recommend a mold removal provider, Stanley Steemer is usually the first option presented. ServPro and PuroClean follow, each with 25 valid recommendations and 1.59% valid recommendation coverage. ServiceMaster Restore and Paul Davis Restoration are close behind in valid recommendation count, but the top tier remains sharply separated. This is the key insight for executives. Mentions, visibility, and recommendations should be managed separately. Raw mention presence measures how often a company is named. Valid recommendation coverage measures how often the company is actually advanced as a positive shortlist quality recommendation. That distinction changes the competitive story. BELFOR appears in 73 observations but earns only 3 valid recommendations, a 0.19% valid recommendation coverage rate. ServiceMaster Restore and Paul Davis Restoration each appear frequently but remain below 2% valid recommendation coverage. This means AI systems may know these brands, mention these brands, and still hesitate to recommend them. Neutral mentions can create visibility assist value, but they do not carry the same commercial weight as a top 3 or rank 1 recommendation. For mold removal brands, the operational question is whether AI systems are merely recognizing the company or actively moving it into the buyer's shortlist. The decision stage cluster is especially important because it covers pricing and cost evaluation, where buyers are closer to choosing a provider. In that cluster, Stanley Steemer earns a 3.4% valid recommendation coverage rate. ServPro earns 0.8% and PuroClean earns 0.4%. The benchmark also shows that several brands maintain some consideration stage presence but lose recommendation eligibility in evaluation and decision stage prompts. ServPro earns 19 valid recommendations in the consideration cluster, then drops to 2 in evaluation and 4 in decision. That pattern matters for CMOs and growth leaders because high-intent prompts are where trust, pricing clarity, comparisons, certification content, and public validation become more influential. Modeled value should be read carefully. Stanley Steemer's $11.7 million monthly AI authority value is a directional estimate of modeled recommendation opportunity, not booked revenue, policy volume, quote volume, or guaranteed ROI. The value is useful because it shows relative concentration and competitive gap size. The report points to the public evidence layer shaping AI recommendations. Official brand websites and service pages help AI systems understand services, locations, qualifications, and certifications. Review platforms and accreditation sources, including the Better Business Bureau, Angie, and HomeAdvisor, appear to shape recommendation framing. Directories, comparison sites, forum discussions, Reddit threads, and social media mentions add more context. That citation architecture affects whether a brand is framed positively, neutrally, or cautiously. Paul Davis Restoration carries 4 negative mentions, the highest count in the data set. AdvantaClean is a useful contrast on the positive side. It appears in only 41 observations but earns 12 valid recommendations and records the highest net sentiment score in the category at 0.37. The lesson is that AI search visibility depends on a consistent public footprint across owned content, third-party reviews, directories, and community sources. For leaders in mold removal, the takeaway is to manage AI discovery at the prompt level. Track where the brand is mentioned, where it earns valid recommendations, where it reaches the top 3, and where competitors are recommended instead. This benchmark is a point-in-time snapshot from June 2026 with a June 17th snapshot date. Outputs can change with model updates, source changes, and content changes. It is also a public benchmark covering 3 of 10 total prompt clusters in the complete data set, so it should guide strategy rather than be treated as a full market census. The strategic move is clear. Build the evidence architecture that makes the brand easier to recommend. In mold removal, AI-generated shortlists are becoming a competitive battleground.